Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. This is a story I meant to do yesterday. We got so busy, I literally ran out of time. So I'm making it the very first story of the day today. And that's the news that Dr. Phillipa Whitford is going to be resigning from the SNP at the next election as well. She's standing down. She's not going to be putting herself forward for re-election. That makes it the 8th SNP MP to quit the Commons. Now, on top of which, of course, Margaret Ferrier is about to lose. Now, technically, of course, she's an independent, but she always votes for the SNP in the hope of, having the whip restored. And the whip has been removed, possibly permanently, from Angus MacNeil. That makes 10. 10 SNP MPs gone. Whoever tries to replace them, whatever candidate is putting in, it's going to be a very hard job. Given especially the strides Labour are making. So it's grim days for the SNP. And further grim as well, I've got a story that will be coming out later today, it's one I'm going to be doing, is the news that Fergus Ewing may also be quitting the SNP and standing as an independent at Holyrood. So the rats really are leaving the sinking ship, and the sinking ship is going down in flames, if you can follow the metaphor. Anyway, we'll take a look at this, see why Phillipa Whitford is leaving, see the little tall tales she tells, and see what this means for the party. Here you go. So, SNP MP blames Boris Johnson as she becomes the 8th nationalist to abandon ship at Westminster. She does know he's no longer the Prime Minister, doesn't she? Who knows? You don't know what goes on in the tiny little brains of these people. Would the last SNP MP to leave the House of Commons turn off the light? Dr. Phillipa Whitford becomes the 8th Nat to not stand again as she follows the likes of Mary Black and Ian Blackford in stepping down at the next general election. And there she is, presumably another one going to spend more time with her pie collection. Do you notice as well, all SNP MPs, as they age, they eventually turn into Alex Salmond. I don't know what that is. They all get, as they get older, they all sort of fill out, get squat, rounded, hunched-shouldered, and turn into him. Even Nicola Sturgeon, she's piling on the weight now. A former NHS surgeon turned SNP MP has become the latest Nat politician to join the growing exodus from Westminster, and she blamed Boris Johnson for her quitting. Dr. Phillipa Whitford announced she'd be standing down at the next general election. Bye then, love. Not a problem. But blaming a man who hasn't been Prime Minister for a year seems a bit odd. The Central Ayrshire politician was caught up in a fake news storm last year. Of course she was, she lies. After claiming on social media that Scots would be forced to pay out for HS2, despite it not coming to Scotland. This is a long debunked nationalist myth, which the SNP attempted to double down on by claiming that people of the north of the border pay tax too. Yeah, I'll give you a bit of news here, mate, love. People south of the border pay tax, and some of that goes to the Barnett formula. Or is that conveniently forgotten? Miss Whitford has been an MP since 2015, but joins a raft of her colleagues in announcing that she'll be stepping down. That raft can't hold too many more, can it? Even the raft of people leaving is going to sink at the rate it's going. She joins Mary Black, Ian Blackford, Douglas Chapman, Stuart Hosey, John McNally, Angela Crawley, Peter Grant and Uncle Tom Cobley, and all in leaving Westminster. And she won't be the last. You have to wonder how many more will go. Humsey Yousaf must wake up every morning and have the papers presented to him, and he must sort of say, oh God, what we're going to see. Okay, takes deep breath, opens page and puts his head in his hand and cries. He must do it every day. Scottish Labour is predicted to take a swathe of seats from the SNP in the Central Belt, but Central Ayrshire is one in which is expected to stay yellow, or green as we like to call it these days. In her leaving statement, Miss Whitford blamed the former Prime Minister Mr Johnson as a reason for her quitting, despite him not being in power since last year. She said, and he's not even an MP anymore, he's quit entirely, hasn't he? So he's not even there. She said, working as an MP at Westminster has changed over the last 8 years, especially after Boris Johnson became Prime Minister, and aggression and contempt towards SNP MPs, and indeed Scotland, became the norm, as she looked at the aggression and contempt the SNP hold for everyone else. It's a bit, pot calling kettle black here. While he is gone, his toxic legacy remains, and only time will tell if this changes after the next election. Well, I think it will get absolutely less toxic in Westminster, because we're losing Blackford, Black, you. So, it's going to be a better place whatever happens. She says it's been an honour to serve as an MP for the people of Central Ayrshire for the last 8 years, and to have been their choice in 3 elections. However, I will not be seeking re-election at the next Westminster election. Oh joy, I'm pretty sure people will be quite happy about that. I'm sure all you out there will be happy about that. At the time of that election, she said, I would have been an MP for 9 years, and including my time as an NHS surgeon, spent 42 years in working in public service. In particular, I look forward to spending more time with my husband, Hans, who is already retired, and I want to thank him for unconditional support he's given me since my election. Well, Hans, many Hans make light work. I also want to thank those who've worked as part of my MP team over the last 8 years, particularly Heather and Isabel, who've been with me from the very start. I feel sorry for Heather and Isabel. I hope they're seeking suitable psychiatric counselling. Their dedication and determination has helped me provide assistance and resolve issues for many individuals and businesses in my constituency. I don't believe a word of that at all. Miss Whitford ousted Labour incumbent Brian Donohoe in 2015, commanding a 27.7% swing and winning more than double his votes. He had previously held the seat for a decade, with the SNP politician keeping it in 2017 and 2019. The Scottish Tories claimed that his 8th SNP MP stepping down was further damning verdict on the failing leadership of Humza Yousaf and Stephen Flynn. Scottish Conservative Chairman Craig Hoy said the public would be forgiven if they were struggling to keep up with the ever-increasing number of SNP MPs deciding to throw in the towel. We did the story the other day where an academic professor said that the SNP was imploding to such a degree it was likely to face complete and utter collapse. And every one of these that goes hastens that end. So thank you. Thank you, Phillipa, for your service, if it helps see the end of the SNP. The public will see through Miss Whitford and her other colleagues' spin, as in vain they desperately try to blame Westminster for their decisions to stand down. These MPs should look closer to home with the chaos and infighting that is engulfing the SNP. As SNP MPs continue to desert them, their party is totally distracted on tackling the real problems of Scotland. The real problem of Scotland, of course, is Phillipa Whitford and her ilk, all of them that wear the little yellow rosette. Although she needs to paint it green now, because effectively it is a green government, because the SNP are barren of any idea. They've got no idea, no clues. They don't know how to solve the problems that they have caused. Still, at least she's going. That's another one out. And hopefully her seat will go with it. Anyway, I shall round off there and come up. Thank you. So, one very important question remains. It is as yet unanswered, but we should know within the next few days. And that is, who will be the 9th SNP MP to quit the Commons before the next election? It could even end up that Stephen Flynn, old Beryl himself, is the final man standing. The only one who's not quitting because he desperately needs the money. It is no problem to me to keep reading these stories out of SNP MPs quitting at the next election, and I hope to do many more of them. But for now, I shall finish this one. Thank you very much for listening. If you like what you're seeing here on the channel, please hit the subscribe button. We're getting close to another little kicking up target, so only a few hundred to go and we'll get to 6,000, which would be brilliant. Leave a like, leave a comment, please share the video. Definitely leave a like, that helps spread the message. That's great, we're going to get the message out there. And until next time, stay safe, stay well, and remember, we're soon going to be hitting the amount that Humza Yousaf can count to. If an 11th person goes, he won't know how to deal with it. Bye.